Hello everybody, this is the Retro Bear from the Socially Distanced Gaming Pantry, welcoming you once again to another thrilling episode of the tNb Gaming Podcast here on YouTube. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. It's wonderful to have you back with us once again. And for our second episode of 2021, I've got a couple of people with me to talk about what games we've been playing and a specialist subject of the week, which is what we always do. If you haven't heard any of the previous podcasts and first time, don't forget they are on this channel in the section entitled tNb Gaming Podcast, of course. Unfortunately, we can't be speaking this week to Nath Retro 1, Retro Games Revive Sean, and Pete Fighter 2, but hopefully they'll be back for upcoming episodes. In the meantime, though, I am joined by another couple of my close gaming chums. First of all, to bring in Gernaldinho Plays, it's Rob. Hello, Rob.
Bonjour, Mr. Bear.
Bonjour. I see we've gone European again. Did you do that last time?
No, I think Eddie did French, so...
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, I try and bring in hello from around the world.
Oh, if you did, yeah, you should try and pick a different one next time.
I'll try.
Yeah. How are you anyway? You alright?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. I'm alright. Back in furlough. Well, back in furlough. I don't seem to leave it. Yeah, I'm alright. Gives me more time to game. Plenty to talk about.
There we go. That's what we like. You say, filling the gaps left by myself and not actually playing anything at all. So at least we got you on there. That's good. The other voice you heard there was he sort of let himself in really. So we want to bring him in now. It's Roller Core. It's Eddie. Hi, Eddie.
Hello.
Hello. Oh God, it's good on Hawaiian now.
No, Swedish. Swedish.
Was that Swedish?
Yeah.
Oh.
I just did a Google Translate little listen beforehand just to make sure I was saying it right.
He's come prepared. It is rather worrying. Yeah, far too much effort. Yeah.
Well, I was running out of places to say hello from, so I thought I'd speak in the old Raz Tendo language.
Oh yeah. Well, if Raz is listening, of course he would have picked that up straight away.
He would have understood my dialect exactly.
He'd have probably gone to the window and see who was calling him. It was, that sort of like authentic. How are you anyway, Eddie? Since I spoke to you, yeah.
Not too bad. Nice and refreshed. Got me coffee. Ready to go.
Nice and refreshed. She's incredibly worrying. This is. I mean, most time we get people on, we sort of drag them from whatever they've been doing to come on and do a spot. But that's great to know. So, So the usual format, as ever, we'll be bringing in a specialist subject a bit later on in the program. But as we always do, talk about what games we've been playing. I you say since we last spoke to you, because every couple of weeks we do a podcast now. But Rob was here last time, and I think were you in last week, Eddie? Or was it before Christmas?
Me, yeah. Yeah, it was me.
Other way around. I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't.
Me and Nathan,
no.
I think.
Of course you were.
And Pete.
That's right. Yes, because we had to get Pete to sort of ask her what his Gamerscore was rather than Rob. That was it. In which case, I'll turn to Rob then, because I dare say with your continuing Gamerscore challenge, have a number of 360 games that you've been working your way through since we last spoke to you.
Yes, 360 specifically as I touched on earlier. But there's a few of us having a bit of a 360 month because of the way Gamerscore has gone on the one and how easy it is to amass quite a chunk at once, i.e. 10,000 in a day if you really plan it right. A few of us are having a bit of a challenge on the Xbox 360 to get just 360 Gamerscore, so I've been playing a lot of that, and I'm going to start in reverse order. Normally I start chronologically from the first I played to the last, but I'm going to finish with the last one because it's a Bear special, one that you'll be very proud of me playing.
Oh wow!
Proud of it.
I should be looking forward to that. Before you start, can I just say, because you played so much 360 this month, would you be doing a dry February on the 360?
Absolutely not. If anything, it's kind of rekindled how much I love the 360 in the Gamerscore side to that, because even if it's easy, you still have to put the time in. There's not much quick and easy. After you've done Avatar, The Legend of Aang, and a couple of other games, 3, then that's it. You've got to put a few hours in, 6, 8, 10 hours, even, some easy ones are 20 hours. You just got to put the time in, so it's made me appreciate the Gamerscore again a bit more.
This makes me happy.
And enjoy it.
See the 360 war getting the love it deserves.
Yeah. So, where to start? We'll start with a game called Bloodbath. Have you played that one, Eddie?
No, it was sealed.
No, it was sealed.
It was one of the last ones I actually got into the collection too.
Yeah, I know you picked it up. I know Ross has as well. Ross has played it as well. But yeah, it's a power game, but it's not a UK power game. So obviously it'll run on our systems. I bought it from an eBay seller in Spain, I think, for about 20 quid. But it's yeah. Oh, there's a story with this one which led to me playing it all day. I kid you not in a good way either. But it's basically it's an arena fighter, which is like Rise Son of Rome. If you've played that and played the arena section in that game, it's like that, but without the quick time side to it. It's supposed to be an online game, and I say supposed to be. No one's really playing it, so you don't get paired up. But you can go into these arena matches and just play the AI when you start it. It's not brilliant, to be honest with you. It's a little bit on the clunky side, but it's still not the worst game I've ever played. What happened to me though? The achievements on this you can get done around about the 10 to 12 hour mark if everything goes nice and smoothly. And I say nice and smoothly because the last one is to get into level 25. And I was well on my way to level 25. I'd pumped in quite a few hours into it, probably about 6 or 7. I got to level 19. The levels were rising up slowly. The game crashed, and then I loaded it up again, and all my progress had gone. It must have crashed on autosave.
No.
So I then had to start all over again and probably put another 10 to 12 hours in it. And I spent the entire day playing this game.
You are experiencing something that probably... I say it probably happens still now, but I mean, to go back years and years to the early days of sort of microcomputing for a game to crash after progress or something like that. And of course, in those days, there was no saving whatsoever, especially if you were on tape.
Yeah.
You've experienced something which was commonplace a long time ago, not so much commonplace now, but at the same time, equally as annoying.
Games didn't go 12 hours back then. They only went 12 minutes, didn't they?
No, that was just the time it took me to play, get to level 25 after getting to 0 again. So technically, I like to think I got to level 44 because I got to 19 and then it crashed. But yeah, that was horrible. But the funny thing
always worries me that like I don't know if you guys do the same. When you're playing a game and you get to a certain point that you want to save, you press save and then you go, I'll just do that again just in case.
Yeah.
Well, I have to do it every time.
It's just an auto save on your progress. I mean, that was actually the second time the game had crashed on me, but I didn't lose my progress the first time. But it dawned on me when it crashed and it was happening while it was trying to save, and it does say, when you see the symbol, do not turn off or reset your console. So it must have crashed when that was happening. But after that, it never did again. So, oh dear. Anyway. Let's move on from that nightmare story. I thought I'd chuck that one in there. But there's a lot of random games where I've just sort of revisited them quickly, but we'll concentrate on the ones that I've finished and got all the Gamerscore out of. Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because there is 2 just called that, one that isn't Nickelodeon. And that was easy, but that was mind-numbing, unfortunately. The combat is extremely unrewarding. It's also extremely easy. It's just a case of you keep upgrading your turtles and mash the button and you'll get all the way through it. Achievement-wise, you have to play through it twice. You have to basically play through it again in time attack mode. And then there's the survival mode, which is just a waste of time being called a survival mode again, because it's just a monotonous keep pressing X.
Could you almost use your rubber band trick on that then?
No, because you have to move your turtle around. You can't just stand in one spot. But I could. Yeah, I have used the what's it called? The turbo function on my fighters pad in games in the past. As I've sent some funny videos to you guys of me leaving on the floor overnight while I go to bed. Sod sitting in training mode for 2 hours. No, you just do that so it doesn't time out. You have to. But
the things you have to do, The things you have to do.
Yeah. I played both the Walking Dead games again for what is a 4th time, Season 1 and Season 2 of the Telltale games. I've played them on the Xbox One on their own as part of a definitive edition and also on Windows 10. So I played them again on 360 to obviously get Gamerscore out of those, even though they haven't got 1,000, but they've still been maxed out.
Have you done the other ones? Because I think there's 2 or 3, well, 2.5 more, isn't there?
I've done Michonne on the 360 already, so I couldn't do that one again. And then there's Frontier, which isn't on the 360. And then there's the final one, which I forget its proper name, but it's basically the final one.
Well, the one before is called, like, not the final one, but the one before is called Final Frontier, isn't it? And it always confuses me thinking that's the last one, but it's not.
No, it's kind of...
stupid naming system again.
It's kind of the third one, because like I said, there's Walking Dead Michonne, which was released between 2 and Frontier. So it's kind of a 2.5, yeah. I quite enjoyed that one, actually. That one's the shortest one of the lot. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed that one. What else? We have... Oh, Christ.
That sounds good.
In NCIS the game, that was an easy that was an easy 100% 1000 G job. That took about, I don't know, 5 to 6 hours. Have either of you played the CSI games?
I played one of them briefly, but I've got the NCIS game on the Wii as well. So my question to you is: it any good?
The best way I can describe it, it's like the CSI games, but it's linear. Like with the CSI games, you have to sort of kind of work out where to go, and then where you are, you know, work out what you have to do. This one's a little bit more hold your hand. It's linear, and then when you are there, it tells you, you know, can you do this? Can you find the bullet holes? Can you find this? Can you do this? And then you can just go to it and work it out and get it done.
That
so
sounds a bit more, not my sort of thing. That
the CSI one's really frustrated me because it was just like, where do I go? Where do I go? Right, get the guide out. Get a YouTube video up. What do I do now? I'd never have thought to go there and look at that rock or something, you know.
That's the problem with some of these point and clicks as well.
Yeah, but
it's so obtuse.
But you know, it wasn't awful at the same time. It was fun enough to not be a chore, but at the same time, it ain't great.
Is a half-open car window a character in CSI the game?
I have no idea what.
A half-open car window.
What are you?
You know, that pack of cards that you opened that had a half-open car window in the CSI pack.
Oh, right, yeah, smashed glass, yeah.
Oh, is it smashed glass?
Smashed glass, yes. Oh God, worst card
that
ever.
wasn't a returning character in the game, then, no.
No,
could have foiled the royalties.
It didn't cross brands between CIS and NCIS. No.
No spin-off show or anything like that. No.
I had the U-Draw tablet out and played Pictionary Ultimate Edition.
How do you find the U-Draw? Have you used it much? Or?
I have used it. You need good batteries. I had to. I mean, I had some partly used Duracells, but they hadn't been used much. And I put them in, and yeah, they die pretty quickly after about a couple of hours. So yeah, you need some good batteries. It's quite a nice bit of kit that's quite responsive.
I like it.
But yeah, no, it was all right. I mean, I didn't play the most sort of exciting game, especially as it's designed to be played with at least more than one person. So it was just a case of playing it for the Gamerscore and on your own. But no, it was all right. It was all right. See, I played a few Kinect games there, but I've only finished one of them with regards to Gamerscore. But SpongeBob Surf and Skate can do one. Worst recognition ever. Like, it's moved your foot to the right and he's gone hard left, and I'm screaming at the TV. I played Rise of Nightmares. That's not a 1000 G job finish, but that is that's a good game. I was talking to Scott, who's in this little competition with us, about it. Or he saw me playing it and he goes, "Oh, how you getting on with Rise of Nightmares?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's all right." And it was, you know, I was moaning a little bit about the controls, and I take it all back after playing SpongeBob, because the controls on that were it was all right, actually. They were decent, but it's a
cheap game to pick up as well, and it's like you get it for £1.
It took a while to get going, but what really kind of made it sort of, I don't know, almost or should I say the amazing part of it, and hear me out when I say this, because I'm going to say the end and you're going to be like, oh, you're glad it's over. No, the last 2 chapters and the story it tells and the way it tells it and the graphics on the screen at the same time, it was brilliant. If you like your horror, it is a really good story, and the story and the way it ends, it's just, it was really good, really engrossing, to be honest with you.
And it's a Sega game as well.
It is a Sega game indeed, yes.
Could it be better if it was on a controller, or is it kind of really worked into the Kinect?
Oh no, it's 100% worked into the Kinect. Totally works into it. I mean, you could make it. Yeah, I suppose you could make it first person with the controller, but you'd have to. Yeah, no, because you'd have to move and use a thumbstick for each arm because you control your arms.
Ah, right.
You have to hack away with your arms. You hold a weapon in one hand and you can punch with the other hand if you're not holding a weapon.
So can you can you run through it like flailing like a little schoolgirl?
Not something I tried.
I'd certainly do that. That'd be my case in playing that.
Running away, going,
yes,
help
yeah.
me!
Believe it or not, when I said I'd end on a game that you'd be proud of, it's actually not this one, Bear. But oh dear, Gamerscore and achievement problems. I played Connect Sesame Street TV for 10 hours straight to finish it. To finish it in one hit.
What was it like?
I'll tell you what, for its intended audience, I think it would be brilliant, actually.
Well, it appeals to me, so that's all right then.
I meant for the actual sort of single-digit ages, it would probably be brilliant for. But you go knock yourself out because trust me, after a while, you really want to strangle Elmo because his voice grates on you when you've been playing it for that long. But
I only need to say something twice, and that's enough for me.
But no, it's good for what it is, I suppose. There's little sort of episode sections where you have to find things on the screen, and you find them on the screen by shouting the word picture and pointing when they're in the screen. And some of them are really well hidden, and it's annoying because there's achievements tied to finding all 20 in these episodes. So I'm glad I was on my own and nobody could hear, because all I ended up doing was shouting the word picture and pointing at the screen every time it changed, regardless of what was on there. If something came onto the screen, I'd shout picture and point. So I'm in my living room for 10 hours straight, during spells going picture, 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 like that, and pointing at my screen.
I think if anybody
so I didn't miss any.
had sort of gone past your window and saw you doing that, they probably would be sort of trying to find out, are you all right, sort of type thinking.
Curtains are always closed here. Gotta keep the sunlight off my collection, don't I?
That's it.
Cool, dear. I played a lot, haven't I? 3 more, and then I'll let Eddie have a go. Sorry, mate. Another game which unfortunately I can't recommend as any good. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Mate, that went on far too long. Collectibles-a-thon as well. If you want your full 1000G, if you want to play through it and you're not bothered about that, then it might be a bit enjoyable. But again, it had more unrewarding combat because if there was 3 enemies around you, as long as you were fighting one, the other 2 would just stand there and let you finish, and then you'd have you go at fighting with them afterwards. So the combat was a bit unrewarding. It probably went on a bit too long. Although the cinematic sequences, they were good actually. They were very good to watch. They were very well done.
I'd heard they were very good, but a lot of the game was pretty average to poor.
Yeah, and when you're quoting the cinematics as the best part of the game. You know what I mean?
That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's for kids, I suppose, isn't it? So.
I don't know. A lot of people were very into the Pirates.
No, I think that's more of a middle audience, to be fair, because they are. I mean, my parents like the Pirates of the Caribbean films, and I think that's an all-age range film. Yeah. To be honest with you, I enjoy it. I've got the whole lot of them. I love them. It's kind of why I bought the game to start with. Not the reason why I left it on the shelf for about 10 years before I got around to playing it. But
I'm not sure what rating it is on the Xbox 360, but it's a 12 plus on the Wii.
Okay.
It's out of arm's length, but I would imagine it's going to be the same.
Yeah,
because it is I would imagine it's the same game.
So it should be designed for competent players, and it's not for like kiddie kids. Then.
Yeah. I mean, it has got obviously you're stabbing people with swords and stuff, so I can imagine it would have a little bit more than PG, I suppose. If you want to look at it like that. So, 2 more games.
Yep.
2 more games. I feel like I'm ragging on a lot of games here, and I must have. And
that's what we do.
Yeah.
We just need to get it out of our system, like the little frustrations that we get from it.
And it helps those people who are listening, who are following all this through, thinking, what's going to be a chore to sit through to get me 1000 gamer score, or what's going to be nice and straightforward and enjoyable experience.
A lot of
Plus,
yeah,
we're British and we like moaning.
the compilations have been quite bad this month as game wise. But no, the next one is one you have played, Eddie. Kick-Ass 2.
Yes. So did you 1,000 it? That's the question.
Yeah, I 1,000 it. I must admit, I had a collectibles guide on YouTube running at the same time, which was just as well I did because they were wide and far apart and in random places.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd watch where the next collectible is, play the game, recognise where I was, and then go and get it. But again, I think I picked on a couple of games for this. The combat on it, again, is so unrewarding. It is so slow. And the annoying thing is you're slow, but the other guys, they're not like Pirates of the Caribbean. They don't wait for you, and they're not slow. So, yeah, you really do need to learn the counter button or use the counter button a lot, which I soon picked up on after the first couple of levels. Otherwise, you're just going to get your ass handed to you quite a bit. It's a shame though, because that's what let it down. I think, did I speak to you about the final boss, or was it Ross?
No, not me.
But right, no, yeah. I mean, the final boss himself, as an individual, I say an individual, he's not bad to beat. But he has two big guys with him and a couple of little guys with him, and you're in this small square space. And man, did that make me rage because, again, this trying to focus on one and you can't then finish and turn around quick enough because the combat is so slow. Yeah, that left me needing quite a few attempts at getting that done.
Yeah, it's a shame because like the franchise is quite a cool franchise, and I wanted it to be more. But I knew going in it was going to be terrible. But as well, that was also part of the charm of it. It was like a really bad B movie that it's just no redeeming qualities. Yet you somehow can't hate it. It's sort of like one of them. But yeah, I went through it without any collectible guides, and I think I missed one collectible.
Yeah,
which failed my 1,000G.
I mean, as soon as I played that first level, and I was just like, right, I don't want to be playing this game again and trying to find a collectible. I missed it. I'm getting a guide out, and I just started the first level again and made sure I watched it as I went through. But yeah, a lot of it is, I think, like a lot of it. There's only 2 achievements for collectibles because there's 2 types to get through the game. The rest of it is just storyline progressional, so you'll get 900 without really trying, just by playing through the game. So,
and then what are you finishing with then?
Do you know what? I know I said I had one more, but I forgot to scroll down a bit. It's actually if we want to talk about the completions, I've got 3 more.
Go on then.
We'll start with oh dear. I'm saying this for every game at the moment, but I decided to get Hannah Montana the movie, the game, out of the way. And
you've been a star this week, I tell you.
Oh yeah, I've really put myself through it to get this Gamerscore. And the worst thing about it is, it's not actually a bad game. The things you do in the game are actually quite fun to do. It's just the skin that's basically put on the game. You kind of wish it was like why can't that have been the Turtles game? You know.
So is that the highlight of your gaming month then?
Yeah.
No. The next game's actually I quite enjoy playing, but it's got a lot of quick time events, and it's got a funfair section where you play like little mini games, and they're at the quick time events and the mini games are actually quite fun to do. It's just all the other all the other rubbish in between it, and all the music wants to make your ears bleed, you know.
But this is a game, this is a subject for another time. But it's one of those games which most people will look at and think not even worth bothering, and that game's 50p game everywhere you go. But you quite enjoyed it. So,
funny thing is you don't find this one everywhere. It's one of those games that's not everywhere. Honestly, when I bought it off eBay because I wanted the Gamerscore out of it, it was like the only copy on eBay at the time. And I think CX only sell it for £4. But it's one of those cheap games you just don't see around very often, believe it or not.
It's probably funny because I used to see it around all the time, but
I don't
anymore.
I never saw it in the shops, and I had to take the CX route to get it. And then it turned up what I thought was sealed, but it was a reseal. But it's all right, the manual's in there. But it's on the shelf for life. And I was going to say, surprisingly enjoyable gameplay in stages.
I bet
the
you
guitar
never thought you
section
found
where the
yourself
notes come down the line and you have to hit it in the right place.
Yeah,
was actually quite fun because you have to. It only had 3 strings, but as the notes came down, you had to rock up to the right string. And yeah, as I say, it was quite fun to do. It was like Guitar Hero, but from a different angle and with a joypad.
Mm.
So yeah, no, that's what I mean. And I love Guitar Hero. I really enjoy playing it. Anyway, swiftly on to the next one. Second to last one, DreamWorks Carts, which is basically Madagascar carts, but with the skin.
Yeah.
I bought that as part of a bundle off some guy I know really well. He came down to visit once upon a time. So, but yeah, no, it was good fun. Good fun. Did you actually play it when you owned it, Eddie?
So it was me. Because I can't remember which one it was, but you got the other one from one of your friends, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you meant that guy or me. I was like,
no. My team leader at work decided to part with his 360 bundle, and he just said to me, "Do you want it?" He was going to give it to me. He said, "Do you want it?" I said, "No, mate. I'll give you a price for it." And he went, said, "Name your price. I don't know nothing about what this is worth." So I asked him what sort, what would you think's fair? And because you don't want to do. But at the end of the day, we had a deal. He had Madagascar carts, so I got DreamWorks carts off Eddie because it's a little bit.
Well, that really.
A little bit hard. Yeah, because I was nearly bought Madagascar off you instead.
Oh, them two confused me so much. They're so similar looking as well.
Well, what Ross said to me is he said, "Be prepared for the same game because the tracks are pretty much the same. Is a lot of a reskin." But I think there's actually a Madagascar character in DreamWorks Superstars Carts. I'm pretty sure the lion from Madagascar, but I'm not expert.
Alex the lion.
Never seen it.
I haven't seen Madagascar. I think that's what his name was.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was all right. But it's completion to get the 1000G out of it took about 20 hours. So it's just a lot of playing it. Yeah. You have to play each circuit modes, and then you have to do this. And then there's collectibles on the tracks, which you have to find, but some of them you can't really find while you're racing because you have to slow down to get them. So therefore, you're then going to lose the race. You have to do each character's special move and take up 5 people with it. It just took time, but I like kart races, and it's not the worst kart racer out there. It's not one that people are going to say, "Oh, look at this hidden gem" or anything like that. But it's a half decent kart racer, and it was quite enjoyable. But it just, I would have stopped playing it long before I got all the Gamerscore if I had that option sort of thing and moved on to something else. Ironically, as I say, I do have Madagascar carts to go, so I'm having to pause and leave that one off for a while because I played this one quite recently. But anyway, last one. This really is the last one. Last Gamerscore completion. Bear, I've done it. I've played it. What have I played?
I know what it is.
What have I played?
My Horse and something.
My Horse and Me Too. I've done
played it. I wonder which one it was. Oh, you've done it.
My Horse and something. What other ones is there?
My Horse and Me Too. Yeah, I bought it nearly 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in March. Actually, I bought it. Finally got around to it, and yeah, it's crap.
Well, if we expected it to be anything else but that.
After the first 10 minutes, it's just like, I'm done with grooming my horse and doing these riding events, which are different but kind of the same. So, but
I am gutted I never got the 1000G before I let it go, but I do have 3 different other versions of it. So I've got it on the PlayStation 2, Wii, and the DS. So
yeah,
I've got a ways to play it.
But you have to do 2 playthroughs of it. So in the first playthrough, you have to do all the mini games, find all the bits, do all this, do all that, and that takes a while. And then you have to play through on professional, which you can then just whiz through. And to be honest with you, it's not that much difficult. So yeah, you have to do another run, which takes an hour and a half to 2 hours on professional just by bombing through it rather than taking the original 3 to 4 your first run took you, because you have to do everything. But no, it's not. It gets dull and boring very quickly.
So what's the Gamerscore total then? As we
the Gamerscore total, I'm getting good at reading numbers because there's 614,180, and I should have Night of the Museum 2 finished by tonight for another 1000G completion. But we'll talk about that on another episode.
Another time
Apart from that, I've been playing Streets of Rage 2 because I'm fighting with 5 lives. That's a classic. That needs no real talk. And I'm only saying that because I know Eddie's done a response already, and I want to thank him for it.
Ah, yeah, because that'll be part of your series on your channel, won't it?
Yes, fighting with 5 lives, Streets of Rage 2, which I think it's already done by 5 people. Because Eddie's done it, Scott Sega Zombie's done it, Retro Faith has done it, Gib 84 Gaming, I've seen he's done it, but I haven't watched it yet. And Retro Red Steve's just done it, but I haven't watched it yet. So I'll be on to those tonight as well. So I've got a busy night after we finish recording.
He certainly has.
Got a game to finish and some videos to watch.
It's like normal everyday life, isn't it? I suppose. Yeah.
Pretty is. It's called lockdown life. Gaming and watching YouTube.
That's it, yeah. I played a couple of games. I'll just jump in before I pass it to Eddie because I've only got a couple to sort of talk about. And me and Rob were on the Evercade fan chat thing with games at It's Much More and Retro Chef and UK Kraut Gaming and what was the other guy's name?
Dan, wasn't it? Oh, Alan.
Al.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry, I can't remember the channel's name, so I do apologise. That's me looking across really, really well, isn't it? But we had a sort of back nearly 3-hour chat on live across the tubes on Thursday about the Evercade, and I've been playing Evercade a bit because we've got a bit of a high score thing going, which I'm not very good at. So I've been playing a lot of Pac-Man on the Evercade, and there's a general opinion that Pac-Man on the D-pad is not very good.
No, it is a struggle.
It is a struggle.
I'm quite proud of my second highest score of 30,000 on that. I think I'm done with it.
Did you get to the corners too quick with the D-pad, maybe?
No, you just can't.
Yeah, you have to kind of to guide him up whatever bit you want to go by holding down on it a little bit early.
Oh dear.
Sort of, you can't just be in the space and press up. You have to sort of hold it and before you get to the space, so he moves up.
I think Pac-Man should always be played in a joystick or an analog stick. Really, I don't think the D-pad is great for it. And yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really. But I've been playing a lot of Dig Dug as well. I do like that. I've been playing that one on the 2600 when I was a kid, and absolutely love that game. So I've been playing quite a lot of that as well. So really getting into the sort of the old games, because that's most the reason I got the cartridges that came with the console when I purchased it. So working my way through some Atari classics and some arcade classics, been quite good. But I ain't playing much more than that really because I just haven't had the time to again. But hopefully that might change next week if I can get my backside in gear. So I thought I'd jump in there. Eddie, fill us in with what you've been playing since we've last spoken to you.
Well, because I was getting a bit jealous of you guys doing the high score on the Evercade, because I like high scoring, I jumped on and played the Namco collection on the PSP. I was playing Xevious and what was the other one? Gallagher.
Mm.
So yeah, I was just playing them, just trying to get a bit of high scores and stuff like that. But it's a different version than the Evercade, because I think it's the NES version on there, isn't it? Whereas the PSP is the arcade.
I think that there's a real sort of like confusion over some of these versions that are on these Evercade cartridges. Some of them are the arcade original, some of them the NES versions, and it's a whole rights issue. So I think you're probably right in what you're saying. There's going to be a difference between some of those.
But because as well, like I was playing in Xevious for quite a bit, and I hate that game. Even though I like shooters, but it's just so annoying, especially on the arcade version as well, because it's so much slower than the NES one. Because I actually jumped on the NES and I was like, it felt like the speed was twice as fast. It was just so much better to play. So yeah, I just went on them quickly, just put some unofficial high scores across, but just because, like I say, I like high scoring. I've got with me and Dylan and a few others, I've got like a high score group as well for our shooters. Although we've not really put anything new into that recently. We need to change that. But yes, proper games that I've been playing. So I've a couple of weeks ago, I completed Darksiders 3. And I enjoyed it, but it was a drag because it just felt like two different games in one. It kind of wanted to be a Dark Souls game in the fact that it's quite a lot harder than a normal Darksiders. And you had to have like respawn points where you'd have to go and get your stuff again. So yeah, it was good, but not brilliant. So after I played that, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to play a short, easy, and sort of like story-based kind of game. So I started playing King's Quest, the PlayStation 4 sort of reboot.
Oh yeah, because is this an old PC game? Was it?
It is. Initially, it's for like the Apple II, I think.
Yeah, I know it goes back quite a way. Yeah, it goes back quite a way, that series.
Like pretty much what got Sierra on the map. So yeah.
Sierra Online, yes, of course.
So yeah, they've done it. It's all like not in H. It's a completely different game. It's really good. It's got Doc Brown in it as the voice of the character, but like in the future. So he narrates what's going on and stuff like that.
Christopher Lloyd,
as if he's telling the story, what's happening now to his little kid, his granddaughter. So it's really cool, but it's one of them games that's like episodic. So I think there's 5 or 6, and I think it was like 4 hours until I beat the first episode, and I was like, this isn't a short game, is it? This isn't what I was expecting. So yeah, it was really good. It's just classic point and click, but done. It's like it's in between a proper point and click game and say like a Telltale sort of like, I don't know, what would you call them kind of games, like, well, just story games really, aren't they?
Interactive story or something like that, I'm guessing.
Because even though you have like slight puzzles and you have like voice trees and stuff like that, you don't have like backtracking to do like you would like a proper point and click. Whereas King's Quest, it marries the two together like really well. But yeah, it's quite a long game, especially because you got to like you got to keep trying things over and over again. Like, does this work with that? Does that work with that? And there's a lot, like I say, a lot of backtracking. So yeah, I played the first episode, which took me quite some time, and I thought, right, I'm just going to play just a fun game now, and I put Tetris Effect on after watching Gib84 play it. There's a mode, I can't remember what it's called, like the 1989 mode or something, and basically it turns it into sort of like a Game Boy-ish, but like obviously a bit more modern version of Tetris. And I just love that game. I just love it. It's just, you just get into the zone, try and get as many proper Tetrises as you can get, and yeah, just, I don't know if you played Tetris Effect yet, because I know a few people have been mentioning it to both of you guys recently, like over the last, I don't know however long. But yeah, like
I haven't. No.
When you move the Tetris blocks, it affects the music, so it kind of is really, you need to play it to understand it, and you need to have headphones on as well. It's like it's a sort of.
I have played it because you said that to me about it. You said you need to play it with headphones because I hadn't.
Yeah, no, it's because the music works so well with the game. It just is great, but I mean, it is so much better with VR. But I only played it on the TV screen. I didn't set up my VR for it this time. But yeah, I was playing that, really enjoying it, just to get ready for a next proper game. And that was Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, okay, yeah.
So it's the final one of the sort of like reboot trilogy. So the reboot, probably one of my favourite games in the 360. I don't know, have you actually played it, Rob?
I haven't, no. I find it sort of hard to get motivated to play a Tomb Raider because then, although I know how big they are, they just don't really draw me in, unfortunately, that sort of game.
It's a great looking game, it really is.
Well, when I played the 360 one, it just blew me away. I was like, wow, graphics can be this good.
it did that to me. I played it very, very briefly, as I do with most of my games, but yeah, it was like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, they are just like visually stunning games. But yeah, like this one, I've seen a few other people play it recently as well. And I thought, do you know what? Finally going to get around to it, finishing it off, because I've just loved that. The reboot is so good. This doesn't live up to it quite so much, but it's still a great game. It's just finding tombs and crypts and breaking in just to get an extra little bit of sort of arsenal or something like that, and then you can beat the game a little bit more. At the moment, I'm stuck on getting a trophy, which is you've got to shoot a turkey with a flare. and it's like it's the Thanksgiving trophy or something. It's really stupid, but like you've got 4 turkeys in the whole game, and if you shoot them all, they just disappear, and you can't do it again. So then you have to wait ages until they respawn, and you've got to hit them bang on. So that's frustrating me at the moment. But yeah, I was also looking because I'm quite nosy. I like looking what other people have done. Because on the PlayStation 4, I'm sure the Xbox One, you can do the same. You can see what other people have done, how well they've done with trophies, so you can compare trophies. And I always go, who's played this game? What trophies have they done? And I noticed a lot of people just looks like they've just played the game and just like gone from A to B and just completed it and missed all of the tombs and everything like that, which to me, that's the game. It's Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
That's been the most enjoyable bit of it, just finding these tombs and conquering them. Some cool looking ones as well, like there's a pirate ship and stuff like that that's like sort of like tucked away. It's not just crypts and everything like that. But yeah, great game. Nearly finished it now. I've got to, the bits of these story games where it says, do you want to go any further? Because if you do, you can't backtrack. I'm at that bit now, so I'm just backtracking and just making sure that I've got all the last bits of trophies that I need before I actually go on and actually complete it. So yeah, absolutely stunning game. Love it. And yeah, and a little bit of retro because I picked up a Master System bundle the other day.
And that was a very impressive bundle. If you haven't seen that video, by the way, I mean, Eddie's picked up some absolute belting titles there for a cracking price. Yeah,
so that was an eBay find. I didn't really want to be spending any money, but I couldn't not spend money when I saw it.
You always spend money. It's other people's money you spend as well.
Yeah, but it's because we got paid early before Christmas, probably like a lot of other people did. So it's a long month this month.
Paid early?
Yeah, well, before Christmas, because payday is like on Christmas Day.
Oh, right, okay, so yeah.
So what we usually get is paid 2 weeks early, so there's like 6 weeks between pay. And yeah, I know we should probably save it all, but it's like, ooh, bonus.
You don't, do you? You don't, yeah.
And it's like the last few weeks is like just living on noodles now. But yeah, like this bundle came up and I just put like a stupid offer in, 80 quid I think it was, and it came through and it was great because most of the games I didn't own. I think there was only one duplicate in it, and it was the fact that it had that game twice that made it its own duplicate.
So the Asterix, wasn't it?
Yeah, Asterix. Yeah, what a game! I mean, that was like the Master System Super Mario Brothers 3, wasn't it? Really. But yeah, out of that, the game that I played the most is Sonic, the original Sonic 1.
That was my fault, wasn't it?
yeah, pretty much. You said you need to play that game, which I mean, I've played it to death loads of times, especially the Game Gear one, which is the same but just a bit more cropped in. But yeah, I kept getting beat on like this vine boss. It was just annoying me, just because I'd hit it and then hit the ball and then die. And then I got past that, and then that final. It takes like about 45 minutes to get to the last boss. The last stage, and that last stage just completely annihilated me, and I was like, I'm not doing it again. I've already had 2 playthroughs of this. I've spent 2 hours of my life trying to complete it. I can't do it. Giving up. I'm rubbish. I need some save states. Yeah, I'm just too used to modern gaming. I'm used to like dying and then just dying a few more times.
Continual cycle. Yeah.
Exactly, and you've got to remember you don't have that like luxury when you're playing retro games.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people who play retro or haven't played retro before don't like playing them, because the limited lifespan that you had as a character. But yeah, you get spoilt nowadays with infinite continues and all that. But as Rob's series Fighting with 5 Lives, that goes to show that you're limiting yourself to a time span on the game, and that's it. No more, no less. That's what you got.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, they've both got the benefits for each other. You get to learn the game more when you're playing a retro game, but I like being able to have the option to experience the whole game like you do with modern games. You can just blast your way through it. But what you need to do when you play a retro game is remember you've not got all them lives at your disposal. You've just got to sit back, relax, and then just enjoy the game for what it is. Think about what you're going to do before you actually do it, instead of just like trying to get through it as fast as possible so you can get on to the next game. Because retro games are not designed to be played like that. They're designed to be played multiple times and like trying to make it last so you don't feel like you just wasted 40 quid in like an hour.
That's it. I had that with Pac-Man playing on the Evercade, like, getting the 10,000 points to get an extra life. I'm sitting there thinking, my last life now, I've got 8,000 points, just keep going for a little bit. You hear the little sound, I've got an extra life, thank goodness for that. That's how it was. You think, I've got to get 10,000 points to get an extra life, brilliant, I can keep going. But
Well,
Yeah.
I think 2021 might be the year of the high scores. I think the Evercade is probably realizing that to a lot of you guys as well, because shooters have done it for me over the last year or so, where actually I really appreciate high scores more now than I ever did. Even as a kid, I didn't really understand the high score thing. But it's been good to have like other people to get a high score, because people used to do it on YouTube, which seems to have taken a bit of a back burner on recently, where people would do like a high score challenge. But yeah, it's just good to have someone score that's like better than yours, and you've got to try and get to that, match it, or if not, get better. And it's just great to have that like sort of like goal to set yourself.
Friendly competitiveness.
Exactly. And if you can thrash them, all the better.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But as I say, I'm playing against Dylan, so that never happens. He always lets me get first, like in a spectacular way, and then it's like, right, that's it, and then he just thrashes me, like within like about 4 hours or something stupid like that.
Well, so I was doing a similar thing with my Pac-Man championship like 8-9 years ago, and I've recorded that footage. I haven't put it up yet. It's been ages since I've done those, but yeah, even I'm trying to beat my own high score, but there's a real sense of achievement of trying to get to that and actually beat it. So yeah, I think you could be right there, Eddie. Could be the year of the high scores this year.
Exactly, a bit of proper competitiveness. And actually, do you know what as well? I was watching the Button Bashers the other day, and they was testing out the Ant stream. Have you seen the Ant stream?
Heard of it?
Yeah, so it's sort of like a retro gaming Netflix, basically. But what's cool about it is you automatically get put onto like high score challenges. So every week they have like a challenge for like different things, and you can get yourself into like a global competition, or you can set it just to your friends. And I thought that made it pretty cool.
I had a look at that a couple of 3 weeks back, I think it was now, because I'd heard about it and I thought, oh.
The only problem is it's like
didn't get too much into
10 quid a month to play basically emulators.
Yeah, I know already. I'm getting a bit twitchy at £10 a month, to be honest with
you. Exactly. I mean, I can see why the cost is there. I totally understand it, but because it is there, I'd rather pay 10 quid a month and get like more modern games.
I think 10 quid a month you could buy an Evercade cartridge practically a month. That price, and you can play, probably more games on that. Well, I don't know, maybe more games. I don't know, but you have a choice of games that that you wanted to play that were there anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is you pay more for the service for AdStream, because it is, it's not just about the games you're playing. You're actually getting put into it's. I suppose it makes you feel like you're going into an arcade and actually playing against actual people.
But it's a good idea. I mean, like a lot of these things which have good intentions sound great. That you hope they're going to sort of take off. So we'll keep an eye on that one.
Isn't it? Though that's the thing.
£120 for a year in the time we are at the moment. He's I don't know. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what that comes of it anyway.
Yeah. We should. I think you get a month for free. So maybe we should all set up a month of.
That might not be a bad idea.
See if we can if we all do it at the same time, we can all like do like our like own little bit of competitiveness, and then see how it takes us. We might even enjoy it and fall in love. We're not sponsored by AntStream, by the way, guys.
No, absolutely not. No. Those free T-shirts we got sent the other day, nothing to do with that whatsoever.
And they paid us to say that.
Yeah. Nor are we paid by Evercade to say, we've been playing their stuff all this past month, and we've got their own high score challenge going, and cartridges are cheap at about the same price of having AntStream for a month. No, but yes. Anyway, that's great, guys. Thanks so much indeed for bringing us up to date with all your gaming achievements over the last few weeks or so. So now we move on to this week's topic of the podcast. It's not the topic of the week. We don't do weekly podcasts. It's the topic of the cast, and we're talking about game compilations this week. I'll edit that bit out probably. Again, we've had a sort of a discussion about this before we decided to record the episode, and the subject of compilations came up. Now we all like a nice compilation, whether it was going back to music when you used to buy Now compilations when you were a kid like I did, gaming compilation or something else. It was always to try and provide you with value for money, which is a subject very close to my own heart. And the idea is that the game companies would bring out these compilations, and you would be able to pick up one of these for the same price as a regular price game, but you might get 4 or 5 games on there. Now, my sort of experience of these goes back to the micro days when we used to have things like They Sold a Million. There's probably, I think, 4 of those compilations that came out. They were sort of like big selling games on there. I think one of them had got Saberwolf and Daley Thompson's Decathlon on there, and a couple of other games as well. And that was the start of it. You just have all these compilations come out, value for money, 10 great games. There was 10 computer hits. Both of those series ran for a number of compilations. They had 10 games on each. I've picked up myself this week in a trade a huge amount of Ocean software compilations. Well, we talked about one before I came on the air, which is Magnificent 7. Head Over Heels, Cobra, Short Circuit on it. There's 10 great games I mentioned a moment ago. It's a Gremlin Games compilation. There's Night Moves, which is another Ocean one. That one there, which I can't see. Oh yeah, Arcadia, which I never even heard of before. That was advertised as having Operation Thunderbolt, New Zealand Story, and Chase HQ on it. Commodore 64. But when it actually came out, Cabal replaced Operation Thunderbolt. I'm not sure why. I can't remember. I think there may have been something at the time about it. But that was my first experience of compilations on computers, and the fact you could buy these. Ocean also brought out Game Set and Match compilation, which is loads of sports games just sort of like put onto one sort of box of about 4 tapes. The very first compilation I ever owned was on the Amiga, which was something called Gold, Silver and Bronze, which is a compilation of Summer Games 2, and Winter Games. You like have your own Olympics on the Amiga. It was great. And what about you guys? What was your first experience of compilations?
Well, I think it's been well touted that I've got a bit of a problem with compilations because I love them.
You've got a bit of a problem with most things.
It's a good
Blind bags,
problem.
compilations, Arsenal. It's
Pretty much achievements and compilations, and then just leave me alone. But no, I mean the first compilations I ever owned probably was Mega Game 6 on the Mega Drive, and despite the fact I already had Streets of Rage individually, I didn't care because it had 5 other games on it that I didn't have at the same time. But like I said with the compilations thing, it's I mean I don't collect for the PS2 as such, but I with regards to everything, but I do collect its fighting games and compilations because I just love a compilation. You get what the Midway Treasures ones, for example. You get something like 20 games on one, and just there's so many good titles in one place. I think it's also a convenience thing, isn't it? If you fancy playing more than one game, but not sort of spend ages playing that one game, then the compilation's great because you can just bung it in and sort of switch between them. And another early memory I have of compilations is after the Mega. I mean, I think Mega Game 6 was bought for me for a present. But the first one I actually bought was actually Midway Arcade Party Pack out of a newsagent. I mean, it was on the counter as one of the $9.99 budget titles. It's still got that sticker on the front. I've kind of left it there as a memory. But 7 games in one, and they're belters, if you ask me. The 2 weakest ones, just personal preference, sorry if you're fans of these games, were 720 and Clacks. But beyond
Clacks, come on.
Yeah, no one likes Clacks.
I love Clacks.
No, it's all right, but it's a bit monotonous if you ask me, because it just seems to be a bit slow for a puzzle game. I don't know why.
Plus the playfield's not actually that big. It's just got a big conveyor belt leading up to it to not much.
I mean, there's no durability to it. Yeah. It's good for about 5 minutes. But the other 4 games,
so that was good. That's my only fact I know about it.
But the other 4 games are absolute belters, and I bought it for Rampage because Rampage is the game that probably got me into gaming. But it's got Rampage, Smash TV, Super Sprint, and Tubin are the other 4, and those 4 just absolutely love them. I remember playing all 4 of those in arcade as a young lad.
You played them. You played Tubin in the arcade. Wow.
Yeah. Tubin had a cabinet.
Don't think too many people played Tubin in the arcade. I remember playing it on the Amiga. I thought it was a great little game. That.
Yeah. I used to be an Amiga boy on Tubin, and I knew it was an arcade game, but I never used to see it.
Yeah.
But if they actually have it in arcade club, it's quite a funky looking cab as well. It's not. It's not a normal looking one.
Game that.
I mean, the other. You were talking about great cabinets. You got Super Sprint and Rampage because, again, the first game I ever played was Rampage, and that was a 3-player cabinet. And so was Super Sprint. Actually, it was an upright 3-player cabinet, and it was a dry, it's a great, what's the top down racing game? That's the expression, with 3 wheels and you stand up. Yeah, it's totally different. But yeah, just a general love for compilations. I mean, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection came out a couple of years ago, and that's just me lost for a whole day if you just sit me in a room with it, And I love, as I say, the one thing I always find funny about a compilation is like Sega Mega Drive Ultimate Collection on a 360. I had to have that. That's great. And you bear in mind, obviously, it's only a generation later, they make Sega Mega Drive Classics for the Xbox One, and despite the fact there are different games, but there's not many, I had to have that as well.
Do you know what? The extra games that you get on it is quite good, because you get not just Sega games, you get like treasure games, which a lot of them are quite expensive, like Gunstar Heroes and Alien, whatever it's called.
True, but to look at the 2 titles on the shelf, you think, what's the point in having them both? Unless you dig deeper into it. Because I think the 360 one has Sonic 3 on it, but the Classics one doesn't.
That is a strange omission, I think. I don't understand.
I think it's isn't it due to a licensing issue that's been raised with the music in Sonic 3? Or am I just imagining that?
I think you might be right, yeah. I think Michael Jackson wants his money.
Yeah, so that was why.
From Beyond the Grave, what's he going to do with it now?
So... But yeah, I was just going to say, it doesn't. They could they probably will do a few years down the line, make a sort of a Series X Sega Mega Drives. I don't know, what we've got Ultimate Collection, that one's called Classics. Give it another name with Sega Mega Drive in front of it, and I'll still go, yes, a Mega Drive compilation, I'm having that. Vintage. And find out I've already got 35 of them on 2 other compilations. But Retro. I don't care. Yeah. I want them.
Mm.
Another thing that's missing on the new one compared to the 360 is I think there was a few Master System games on there as well, weren't there? I know Golden Axe Warriors on the 360, and I think Sonic 1 is as well.
Yeah.
Master System. Yeah.
It's been a while since I delved into the library of the 360 one, but
what you have to do is unlock them though. You can't just play them at the start, I believe.
Yeah, there's a gallery in which you can unlock a load of stuff by doing certain stuff in other games. But so it's probably in there.
What's cool about the PlayStation 4 one as well, you can play it in VR. So you know the little room that you go sit in, and you've got like your shelf of games that you can choose from. Well, you can put your VR on, you can sit in the game and play your game on the CRT. It's brilliant.
That is pretty cool, actually.
It is really funky. You can't play the game for too long like that, but it is just a good little addition that they've done.
And of course, in that one PS4 one, they did add some challenges as well, didn't they? Rather than just put the games on there and you can play them, they put some challenges on there as well. So that's a cool little thing.
Oh, and as well, for crappy gamers that are kind of used to modern games now, you can the best thing that they've done in it is put a reverse feature in it.
Yeah.
So instead of just like having save states all the time, if you do a mistake, you can press like your shoulder button and it just rewinds it. It's amazing. It's the only way I can play games now.
It's great for getting the points total in Space Harrier for that achievement, because you can just rewind and then steer away from what killed you and carry on going.
No, what is best for it is Alex Kidd. I can finally complete Alex Kidd now because of that stupid paper scissors rock thing.
God,
I know what's coming now. You can't trick me twice.
Is it really completed though?
Well, only because that's a stupid mechanic. It shouldn't be put in there.
Yeah, losing a life for it is a bit harsh. Perhaps just making you try again.
Yes.
No, you lose, try again, sort of thing.
Just extends the gameplay.
To make you lose a life on chance is a bit bad. It's a bit horrible.
It's a shame the music's so good because it always just bring me back for more.
Sing up.
Sorry, I could do that.
Enjoy.
I could do it for ages.
Well, I know we mentioned the Evercade earlier as well, didn't we? Because that's very much the same sort of thing. Those cartridges that come out now are tNb compilation cartridges as well.
Yeah.
Carries on with the arcade stuff, though. It's a mixture, we said, of console and arcade version, depending on where the licenses go from. The whole point of a compilation is it's value for money. You look at something like Mega Games series on the Mega Drive. I mean, some of those cartridges are loaded with great titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you sort of start to think, wow, this is just great value for money.
That was mind-blowing to see them on the Mega Drive back in the day. It's like, hang on, where's all these extra cartridges coming from? Where have they put them all?
I was always amazed that a Mega Drive cart could get more than one game on it.
Yeah.
I don't know why, especially 6. How would you get 6 Mega Drive games on one cart? That's ridiculous. But if you want to talk value for money, can I chuck another one at you? Just quickly. Rare Replay.
Ow. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I know it's exclusive to the Xbox. They have actually got something that's exclusive, but it's a hell of a collection. And you were talking about 8-bit micros and stuff like that. It literally is their entire generations. It's got all that early stuff as well as the late stuff.
I think it's such a shame it's limited to the Xbox, really. But I can see why. As you said, that they need to have some exclusives because I'd jump all over that just because.
Well, it's because Microsoft owns Rare.
Own Rare now, yeah. I mean, they're a little bit kind to Nintendo because I think some of their characters now appear in some of their games and they let them have some of their games. But it is a shame from that sense. But let's be honest, both companies do that. But that's a topic for another matter. Street Fighter 5, damn you! But I mean, I've got the box here. I mean, it hasn't got a complete list on the back, but was it Attic Attack, Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts, Battle-Tooie, Battletoads Arcade, Blast Corps, which I know Eddie loves, I think it's you, Cobra Triangle, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Diggity Rock, don't know that one, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Gunfight, Jet Force Gemini, Jetpack, and Jetpack Refueled. Oh, there's more down here.
Diggity Rock, that's one of the NB Games ones, the Milton Bradley, that used to be board games, and it was like, I can remember seeing them boxes, the NES, I was like, what? Because everyone loved Milton Bradley games, so the board games was always the best. So it was like when they came into NES, I was like, I can see a sign of quality. And then I played the games, and I was like, oh, very disappointed. So I think Diggity Rock was the only good one from that.
I just found the second half to the list. You got Cameo, Elements of Power, Killer Instinct Gold, Night Lord, Lunar Jetman, Perfect Dark Zero, RC Pro-Am 1 and 2, Saber Wolf, Slalom, Snake Rattle and Roll, Solar Jetman, Underworld, and the 2 Viva Pinata games.
Wow, so there's actually multiple 360 games on there as well.
Yeah, and when you put the disc in, because they're backwards compatible as well, it actually sort of puts them on your Xbox for you as separate games as well. So when you boot them up, you get the proper Xbox 360 screen as well. They've all got their own achievement lists as well as honestly, there's like over 4,000 G's worth of Gamerscore on there for you, so it's great for that as well.
And it's like less than 10 quid these days, isn't it, I think?
It's I think most places, it's 10 quid or less. I think it's on Game Pass as well.
It'd be an absolute no-brainer, really.
It's an amazing, If you like your Rare games, it's another no-brainer there.
Exactly. As well, and I think as well, like what people don't realise is Rare used to be Ultimate Play the game, so there's some C64 games on there.
And Spectrum stuff as well, the Saber Wolf game, Attic Attack, etc. So, I mean, it covers all the generations. Play through their time on the 8-bit and then through to the 16-bit, the consoles, right through to the 360.
And when you're scrolling through the games, all the original artwork's on there as well for you to view. Yeah. So you can look at that on screen as well. Really nice.
I was so gutted to find out that was only available on Xbox One onwards. So gutted.
I'll get it one day. It is one of the ones that the only one I want the Xbox One for.
I probably agree with that.
Games I probably already own.
You could buy it to put with your other game, Eddie, whatever that is.
I've got a few Xbox One games, yeah. So I've got Killer Instinct. What else have I got? Oh, that crazy sort of like cell-shaded shooter.
Sunset Overdrive?
Sunset. That looks amazing, that game. But not a compilation, so we won't talk about it.
But the 30th anniversary collection was on both. Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, I've actually got that. I'm actually going through that at the moment. Street Fighter 1 is absolutely terrible.
Yes, we knew at the time it was absolutely terrible.
That's why nobody had heard of it. Everyone heard about a lot of people heard about the first Street Fighter because they were like, Street Fighter 2?
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2?
Yeah, when Street Fighter 2 started getting its reputation as being the best fighting game ever, I was like, really? Because the first game, I remember reading all the reviews, the conversions, the home systems, was they were absolute dog cack.
I mean, I'll be honest, I was one of those that didn't know about the first game. When the second one came along and it's called Street Fighter 2, I had no idea what the first game was.
I remember it being slugged off everywhere. I read about it.
I can't remember it being slugged off either. I only remember Street Fighter 2 coming out, being a complete phenomenon, and then finding the Street Fighter 1 cabinet probably about a year or two later or something, and it was like it was in like Butlins in Skegness, and it was in like the sort of like, I don't know, some weird like office building or something. It was just like forgotten about and pushed away. And I was like, "What's this? Street Fighter, amazing!" Then I played it, and I was like, "No, it's not."
What the hell?
But you'd play the original. Think, how on earth did they even consider or even get an opportunity to make a sequel to it? I think there were two games at the time which were very, very similar: Street Fighter, Human Killing Machine.
Human Killing Machine's a sequel to Street Fighter.
Was it a sequel to Street Fighter? Was it?
Yeah, it's an unofficial Street Fighter sequel.
Yeah,
so
that was Doc Cack as well.
Was it Ocean who made it, or someone?
US Gold springs to mind.
So they were supposed to be making. I can't remember if they actually went and put it forward to Capcom to make a sequel, or maybe just make a Street Fighter 2 port, and then it turned into Human Killing Machine.
US Gold did Street Fighter 2 conversions to home micros as well, and they were terrible. But then again, they were going to be, yeah.
It wasn't Final Fight meant to be the sequel originally?
Final Fight was, yeah.
And then they renamed it, obviously, and then they made Street Fighter 2.
Because it was actually called Street Fighter 1986 or something stupid
like
that, wasn't it?
Whatever the year was, but yeah.
But there is another Street Fighter sequel. We're totally going on tangents here, aren't we?
No, we started talking about Street Fighter collection, so we're on topic. We're just slightly around the corner from where we should be.
Yeah, so there is actually a Street Fighter on the NES that actually officially came out. It's called Street Fighter 2 2010, The Final Fight.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. It's a strange like platforming game that you control. I think you control Ken Masters. I think that's who you are, but in the future. And very weird mashup that you wouldn't think is part of the Street Fighter franchise, but it kind of is. It's just, completely isn't at the same time. Definitely worth looking at, though. It's quite a good game.
And I know that some of the compilations I'm thinking of, there's a Namco one, I think, which is out for the GameCube, which is ridiculously expensive in price. I think about 50 quid or something like that.
Yeah.
Not quite sure, because I remember picking one up at a game fair, and I think it was you were stalling out, 2 was stalling out that day, and he said, "You managed to home in on the most expensive game on the GameCube I've got." I was like, "How much is that?" And it was for 50 quid. I thought, bloody hell.
I think that's cheap now.
That's true. Yeah. That was 18 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the PlayStation 2 one's about that one. That price now, it's gone up. I noticed the other day.
But there was so many compilations that came out on that range of systems, PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and a couple that made across the Wii. But we got the Midway series we talked about. There was the Atari anthology, which was a load of 2,600 games and their arcade counterparts. That's quite good fun to play. There's an Activision one which came out, which has also got a load of 2,600 games, like things like Keystone Capers, which was a tremendously fun game to play when I was younger. But I always sort of home in on the compilation. You sort of look at these pictures and think, wow, they've got all these games on there. Even the duff ones you never heard of.
Well, that's what's good about it.
Would weigh out the ones that you wanted to play.
Because that's what's good about these kind of compilations as well. Is like you might like a handful of games, and then you've got like another handful more that you've probably not even heard about, and you can maybe experience for the first time.
That's it, yeah.
In a cheap way.
Well, that's the idea as well, and the more you can find about it. Mind you, having said that, there is one on the PlayStation 2, which is utterly awful.
Which one's that?
In fact, well, I'm just looking at two. I've got one which isn't awful, which is Taito Legends. That's a really good one as well.
Well, the title ones, oh my goodness, this is one of the ones that I wanted to talk about, especially Legends 2, because that is a no-brainer to get, because there's so many games that's on there that was released on the Sega Saturn, and the Sega Saturn versions are 100 quid plus. Like Gun Frontier, Liquid Kids, that's like a 250 quid game on its own.
Is it really? Wow.
Gun Frontier is about 150. Metal Black, about 100. Ray Storm and Ray Force, that's about 50. Darius Gaiden, that's about 100. Elevator Action Returns, that's about 200 quid game. So yeah, it's basically what I'm saying is, if you like your shooters or just games in general, Taito Legends 2, get it. It's like less than a tenner a game. Amazing. I'm
just looking down the list of Taito Legends 1, the original one. Battleshot, Bubble Bobble, Continental Circus, New Zealand
game
Story.
Another talked about Bubble Bobble, a sequel that not many people know about, Bubble Symphony, which is basically the actual sequel, the proper Bubble Bobble 2. It's a really good game. again, another expensive Sega Saturn game. There's a theme there, but again, it's on there, so it's nice and cheap.
Yeah, it's just good. Operation Thunderbolt, Operation Wolf, Plotting, Rainbow Islands, Space Invaders, Space Gun. Oh, I mean,
So
it's just only great.
That's on the first one.
That's the first one. Yeah, I mean, you combination the first and second one. This rotten one I was talking about on the PlayStation 2 is actually called the Arcade.
Yes.
I don't anybody's
There's
ever played
loads
it.
of terrible ones like that. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's awful. It says 10 classic favourites brought to life with 21st century technology. Oh, I mean, I picked this up for 50p. I was surprised a few months later this was actually sort of selling for about £3. That's like £2.99 too much, honestly. This game has got it's some of the most sorry-looking knockoffs of our well-known arcade games that I've ever seen in my entire life. It says on the front, hundreds of hours of classic gameplay. I think if you get beyond 1 hour, you've done pretty well with it. It really is. I'm just trying. There's versions of Space Invaders, Q*bert. There's like a Bomberman variation on it as well. Centipede.
What they've done is they've taken old classics and they've modernised them and basically ruined them. Is that what you're saying?
The correct word I'll usually be bastardising, to be honest with you. But I know we don't like to. Yeah.
Sorry, when we was all talking about these compilations and all these classic games they've got on it, that kind of ties into a thought that I just had, and I'll put to you now. Do you think that these compilations are basically not produced for the current generation, even if they're coming out on the current generation? They're produced for the older gamer to have, shall we say, multiple nostalgia kicks all put onto one disc, which then has a large, massive appeal.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Rather than the current gen, because I mean, someone who's 18, I don't know, or who never experienced a Mega Drive compilation comes out, he's not going to think, oh, I really want that because I want to play all of this stuff outside of, I don't know, your Sonics and Streets of Rages. It's going to appeal to us, and then we're going to say, oh, I want to play, Gunstar Heroes. I want to play, I don't know, Vector Man. That's on one of them. That's a bit random, So
I think that's a good point actually, because back in there, when these retro compilation, well, what I would call a retro compilation, as opposed to like the Amiga one and C64 ones, which were current games just put into a multiple box. When PlayStation 1 was doing like the Midway ones back then, and all of like the compilations of older arcade games, I hate them. I didn't see the value to them. I just thought, what's the point of all this? Getting older, and now I'm appreciating all that stuff. Now I think there's been definitely a revival for compilations, especially, like I say, especially between the PlayStation 2 and 360 era. And I think now is a great time for it, and they're capitalizing on it. And instead of making great compilations like they did back then, where you'd have multiple great games on one compilation, they'll spread it out and try and make as much money as possible from them.
Yeah. I honestly think that the days of the compilations are pretty much, I wouldn't say numbered, but certainly for retro gaming anyway, are sort of gone past now, because we now have mini consoles. If you think about it, why would Nintendo have not released a compilation of disc for the Wii or the Wii U of NES games? They put them on the store, didn't they?
They're basically, yeah. I mean, I think at the moment, I think their current thing is if you pay for their online service, you get like NES and Super Nintendo games in a compilation. But they obviously don't like money, because they don't realize how many people would buy that same compilation if they put it on a little cart.
You say that, Bear, but they've just made the Mario thing, which obviously sold really well. Yeah. And of course we can go back to the Evercade, which is starting to thrive, which is just cart after cart of compilations, which is the appeal.
I mean, the one I think of is the PC Engine Mini, because no one's ever thought about trying to bring a compilation out for that. I mean,
there actually is. There's one on the PSP, PC Engine Classics it's called.
Why would that not have been released more widely than...
Well, that's in Japan.
Yeah.
So, but it's quite expensive.
But when we've spoken about this before, and this was a system that certainly saw a lot of when we were kids, but we never actually saw one, sort of thing. I'm sort of thinking, would there not been an emphasis to try and produce a compilation for that? But now they actually decided to bring out a pared down replica of the console with a chip inside it, so you could play the games that way. I don't know. I just think the days of the compilation, I'm saying numbered, but
I don't think so. I think it's the total opposite. I just think that they will try and fleece us for what we can get, really, because there's a big boom in nostalgia. It's all of us older folks wanting to go back and play them all, and get our kids people's kids to experience them and stuff like that. Because I know a lot of people, you're not going to go straight into, like, say, Tomb Raider, like I've been playing when you're 5. These classic compilations are great ways to get kids into gaming because it's simple games with 1 or 2 buttons. Do you know what I mean? So it's a great stepping stone up until the modern games like bloody Fortnite and stuff like that. I don't think that they would ever just disappear.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to side with Eddie, I'm afraid. There.
that's all right. Yeah, so, everyone's got their own opinion, aren't they?
Geez, I'm now deciding vote. Thanks, guys. But yeah, no, I'm gonna have to side with Eddie and think, especially with the price of retro games at the moment on the rise and having no signs of holding with regards to that as well. I think that the cheaper option all in one place is massive, and that could be a reason why the Evercade is starting to take off and do so well.
It could easily
it's
be
delivering that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to emulate. We all know that, but there's something about actually having an official product. I don't
having hardware,
and as well, like a lot of us, we're like collectors. We'll buy that same game 100 times if they release it.
This goes back to my Mega Drive compilation thing earlier.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, how many times we own some of these games?
I know. I can't remember how many times. I'm doing that with the 8-bit stuff. I'm sort of sitting there thinking, well, I've already got that game on the compilation. I've been talking to somebody about doing a deal on some Spectrum games as well. I'm sort of thinking, well, I've already got those. And I've got them on a compilation, so do I really need just a standalone copy of that particular game or not? Probably not. But you also know that if you're going to buy certain compilations, you're going to end up with the same game which appears across them anyway. Goodness knows what the hold that the creators of Vector Man have on Sega, because that game appears to be on every single Sega compilation that you can get your hands on.
Plus, it's all about convenience as well. It's like sometimes people don't want to hook up a system that they own the game for previously, so you could release the Sega Mega Drive collection indefinitely. I know you can use the PlayStation 4 on it, disc on it on the new systems, but they could also just release a PlayStation 5 one and people will still buy it. Just do a slight change to it and people will buy it again. Simple money, isn't it? Easy money.
I think we agree that the compilations are a great thing, and I know there's a slight difference between whether or not they're going to carry on. They're going to be a thing of going round, but they've always been there, and they've always provided that sort of attraction that you can sort of pick up a lot of games for very, very little in terms of what you pay for it, in terms of how many games you're getting on there.
Yeah, and talking about are compilations disappearing? A fairly recent one that's just come out in the last year, I think it is. One that I don't think I've ever had a compilation before. It's the Kunio-kun World, which I just picked up on the PlayStation 4 recently. So you can get it on the Switch as well. And basically what that is like all the Double Dragon games, for the NES, Double Dragon 1, 2 and 3. Yep. You've got River City Ransom, Crashing the Boys, and I know there is a Technos cartridge of them games.
That's right.
Coming out on the Evercade, isn't there?
I was to say, it's an Evercade.
However, there is about 20 other games that we never got as well. Sort of like the Dodgeball, loads of ones that I can't pronounce because the Kunio-kun World, obviously it's a Japanese franchise, but they made games.
Yeah, they released all of those on the Xbox individually.
Yeah. Because I know you got them, didn't you? I saw you get them as well. But yeah, that's a great compilation in it, and I don't think there ever was one with all these games on, up until this came out. So it just shows that, people are taking note of compilations, and I think some of the ones that we would have dreams about might actually come out. I mean, what would your dream compilation that's not been released, what would it be?
I already touched on this in the Evercade discussion. So I would love a Konami side-scroll and beat 'em up compilation.
Yeah.
Stick Turtles, Simpsons, X-Men, and a game called Violent Storm, to name a few, on one disc, or even, dare I say it, like the Capcom collection is digital download. Yeah, I'm sold. Do it. Did they get a physical on the PS4? Capcom.
On the PlayStation 4?
On PS2, weren't there, I think?
No, the Capcom did beat 'em up bundle.
Yes, but I think it only came out in Japan.
Oh, right. I don't think, it didn't get one on the Xbox.
Yeah,
but yeah.
And there's one on the Switch as well. What's it called? The Black Belt collection, isn't it? I think.
I don't know. I've not heard of that one.
I think it's the same one that you're thinking about, but I think it might be the Japanese name for it.
I can't remember what I said on that chat, because with the same question, wasn't it? We had that night, Rob, and I can't remember what I said. It would be my sort of dream
I've
dream
slept
compilation.
A few times since then. That's fine.
That's very true. That's very true.
For mine, I would go Konami again, and I would probably choose. It's only 3 games, and the games have been released so many times before, but just not like this. And it's on the Wii. There was the Rebirth series, which was Castlevania, Gradius, and what was the other one? Can't remember now. But yeah, there's 3 games that was like sort of redone for the Wii, but it was only digital download, and Konami are just like holding them back, and it's stuck on this dead store that you can't download them again. People are having to illegally download them just to experience them, because a lot of people missed it. That would sell in bucket loads if Konami just even digitally just released it, but it would be so much nicer on a nice little physical edition.
There's something with Konami in their licenses, because the Simpsons and the Turtles game, which are on the Xbox Live Store, have both been pulled, and the Simpsons one I don't think even lasted a year before it got pulled.
I think you said it was 9 months the other night.
I think 9 months was just a guess, but it's certainly it didn't last over a year.
Well, what's good about that, actually, they have actually released that again recently via the Arcade 1-Up. You can actually buy.
Right, yeah.
So the license is still there. It's turned into Nickelodeon Turtles, but it's still the same gameplay and everything like that. And I think I think they changed the theme tune to it as well, or something.
I mean, that's the Turtles one, but the Simpsons has kind of got lost.
No, Simpsons, I believe there's going to be an Arcade 1-Up of that as well.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
It was supposed to be announced recently, but I think they missed it. I think they went to the X-Men. You know, the X-Men 6-player.
Yes, yeah.
They're going to do a 4-player version of that on Arcade 1-Up. That actually has been announced, but I believe Simpsons is coming as well soon on Arcade. Oh, it's a compilation, but it just shows that like Konami are getting these old licenses back, and how good would it be to have like a licensed Konami fighting compilation, like you said?
100% love it.
Because Arcade 1-Ups, that's a separate thing. That having these compilations won't stop these from selling, because people will still want them for that arcade aesthetic. Really, realistically, people are not getting it for the games, because you can emulate them games however way you want. But
they're going to have to get on with it, because most of us are getting a bit old and arthritic now, and we won't be able to hold the control pads much longer. So they hold another 5 years, it'll like wipe out 50% of their target audience has gone. Just very, very quickly before we finish on this subject, because it's a bit of a sort of left field when I'm talking compilation. I didn't mention the mini consoles. We've got obviously the market now completely flooded with all these like 400, 500, 600, 18-1 handheld consoles that have been churned out from China and all sort of four corners of the world. You can get a device with a load of ROMs loaded on, which are all the classic games from before, and you're paying a fraction of the price of those. I mean, aren't they sort of technically compilations as such?
Yeah, totally. But the thing is, I don't know, it's something nice to have something official to actually have in your hand and say you're supporting them, even though most of us buy it second-hand, so it doesn't actually support any of the people. But but yeah, I don't know. It's just nice to have that proper physical thing. But I also I do see the value in these like Chinese knockoff ones as well. I like to have both. Realistically,
I do as well, and
convenience is the king, really.
Thing is, are they what they are? Is one thing, like game wise. Yeah, you always worry about that. And the other thing is the quality of the controls / controller or handheld.
Oh no, there's one called Pow Kitty now, and there's another one I can't remember what the name of it is, but Yeah, supposedly amazing. Like for about 60 to 80 quid, and you just put whatever ROMs and emulators you want, and I think it emulates up until Dreamcast in your hand. Amazing.
I know.
Oh well, I think that's bring that subject to a close. But yeah, I mean, they've been around for a very, very long time. Compilations going days of microing, and then right there through the current day, and in different forms and what have you. And there are some fond memories there. I hope it's sort of inspired compilations, perhaps game series that you may have heard of before and seen before.
Hello, Fidget.
Fidget
that is exactly who it is. Yeah, Fidget.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he agrees with that anyway. But yeah, so yeah, interesting. Any comments that you'd like to make on those, I do feel free to add them below. Any that you've played before and you can recommend, and people can drop in and out and go from that. But yeah, so that's episode 30 in the bag, and I'd like to thank very much indeed Rob Gunnerlinia Plays and Eddie Rollercall for giving up their time this week to come and talk about that. Thank you very much, chaps.
No worries. Thanks for having
No
us.
worries. Thank you.
Hope you,
Das Vidania to all.
What?
Das Vidania to all.
No.
I have no idea what he's on this week.
All
folks.
of the Russians went, "Thank you, Rob. Goodbye." Trust me.
Have you been learning Russian in your spare time, or is it some?
Just one I know.
Oh, okay.
Isn't there a game where it actually says that at the end? It goes Das Vidania like that. It always stuck in my head.
Red Heat.
Red Heat. Yeah, I was just thinking of Red Heat. Eddie, yeah.
That was a terrible game.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, that was a rotten Arnold Schwarzenegger film as well. If I remember, the film wasn't very good.
There we go.
Look at that, a tangent on the goodbye as well.
Yeah.
Potential new episode, Arnold Schwarzenegger games.
Oh, that'll be good. Yeah, we can work on that one. I can think of a few already. On that slightly depressing note, once again, thanks very much to the guys for being here this week. Thank you indeed, everybody, for tuning in and listening to this. Whatever you have been doing, work, commuting, whatever, it's always a great pleasure to have you with us. And we will speak to you again very, very soon. But until then, this is the Retro Bear saying thanks very much for listening. Do take care of what you're doing. Do stay safe out there, folks. See you again very soon. Bye for now.